You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, this is something that we've been keeping an eye on for, several months since we found out Jon Gruden had showed up in Saints training camp, and even before that, earlier, working with Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints on their offense. Now, he was not part of the staff, and there has been rumblings going on about the fact that Jon Gruden might end up joining this staff just a few days ago, and we'll take a look at that article too. I did a video on the fact that, in fact, I could bring it up now while I'm talking, that there was mutual interest between the Saints and Jon Gruden for a coaching spot. Now, that coaching spot is supposed to be something like what's called either a senior offensive assistant or something of that nature, that would bring him back into the NFL. Now, keep in mind, the NFL has kind of been wanting Jon Gruden. I think the NFL is actually rooting for Jon Gruden to come back into the league. Why? Because I think they believe that he might quit suing the league if he was to come back. And some behind the scenes have said, well, they want him to come back. The only problem with that is I'm not sure he's going to quit suing them just because he comes back. I don't think that's going to happen. In fact, he was in court the other day. I saw a picture of him in Nevada over that suit. Of course, the NFL is trying to stop this thing from progressing because what Jon Gruden's trying to do is get it to a stage in the lawsuit where people start bringing things out into the public light. And he is trying the NFL, Roger Goodell, because he's suing Roger Goodell too, separately, by the way, NFL and Roger Goodell. He's trying to have everything come out publicly. The NFL doesn't want anything to come out publicly. As somebody in the media described, Jon Gruden knows where all the NFL's bodies are buried. Well, crap, they don't want that out. Members of the front office met with Jon Gruden, and there is, quote, mutual interest in him joining the coaching staff. That was NOLA.com. And that was, I believe, about 6 or 7 days ago. Well, this news just broke just now that the Saints have fired offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael. Obviously, whatever is going on with Pete Carmichael and Derek Carr was not working out here. All right, I know he's been there a long time, but now we start looking at a scenario where Jon Gruden could end up being the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. And I've said I think this is happening in part because Dennis Allen, there was a scathing article I did a video on the other day where he's essentially lost control of the culture and of the locker room, right? There's not a lot of discipline around that New Orleans Saints locker room and behind the scenes. Well, we know one thing about Jon Gruden. He's not taking no shit from anybody. All right? We know when he walks in, hello, you know exactly what's going on. In fact, even if he doesn't get the job, I think they would like to give him a little beefier job. Senior offensive assistant / assistant head coach, something like that. New Orleans announced on Tuesday that the team has fired offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael, senior offensive assistant Bob Bicknell, and wide receivers coach Cody Burns. Quote, I'd like to thank Pete, Bob, Cody for their service to the New Orleans Saints and to this coaching staff. Head coach Dennis Allen said in a statement, these type of decisions are never easy to come to, but are necessary as we move forward. Quote, I would especially like to thank Pete for his contributions for the staff. He's been there a long, long time, guys. And in fact, I would be pretty surprised if he doesn't go and join Sean Payton's staff in Denver. He's been there for 18 seasons. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the job he has done and as a colleague. Carmichael came under heavy criticism for New Orleans' inconsistent offense in 2023, with the team finishing 9th in points and number 14 in yards. The Saints scored at least 30 points just 3 times, including the 48-point performance in Week 18 victory over the Falcons. Carmichael has been the New Orleans offensive coordinator since 2009. He joined the Saints staff as quarterbacks coach in 2006, former head coach Sean Payton's first year with the team. Carmichael took over as the full-time play caller once Payton left the organization. Following the 2021 season, he also called plays during Payton's bogus suspension in 2012. Former Raiders and Buccaneers head coach Jon Gruden would be a candidate to take over as offensive coordinator. Last week, Jeff Duncan of NOLA.com reported that New Orleans had interest in reuniting him with Derek Carr. While that report indicated that he would have a title like senior offensive assistant, Carmichael is no longer in the building in the coordinator role. So, or maybe Jon Gruden could get something that's a combination of the two. They could always name him offensive coordinator and assistant head coach. Allows them to pay somebody like Jon Gruden, who has obviously made a lot of money in his career, a better salary. But John's also just looking to get back into the league. And obviously this is a big step, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Jon Gruden sat down with Mickey Loomis 7 days ago or 8 days ago. And so this tells you Dennis Allen was in on that sit down. I think they all went to dinner or something like that. And so this tells you right there, this has been on the radar. Now, the other thing they could do is hire him as a senior offensive assistant. And then there's been rumors of Brian Griese. I believe he's quarterbacks coach for the Niners, my team. Or Cliff Kingsbury, the former head coach of the Cardinals, who's going to start gaining steam around the league as an OC candidate. And I'm surprised Pittsburgh hadn't already been on the phone to him. Maybe they have. Their season just ended yesterday, but it may be too late. One way or another, I think Jon Gruden's joining the Saints. And this is it's one of the further steps along towards that happening is obviously getting Carmichael out the building. And I hadn't even thought about that aspect. Obviously, Jon Gruden's used to calling plays for Derek Carr, and Derek Carr is used to Jon Gruden being in his ear on the headset. Now, I've thought about that part, but I had not thought about the fact that Pete Carmichael, this whole time he was OC under Sean Payton was the one still calling the plays. Okay? It was kind of like the whole thing as Eric Bieniemy had to leave Kansas City and go to Washington so he could start calling plays because everybody was like, oh my God, he's the Chiefs OC. And I was like, oh my God, but Andy Reid is the one calling the plays. So let's not get worked up over Eric Bieniemy right now. And yeah, he had a pretty good year as an OC, but he also got Sam Howell killed. Okay? I mean, that's all there is to it. So he had issues with calling appropriate protections and making adjustments and things of that nature as well. But anyway, this is the step, guys. For all of you like me that are rooting for Gruden to get back in the league because we all feel like he was screwed over by Roger Goodell in the NFL, this is the massive step. I suspect in the next few days, at some point, we're going to hear Gruden is going to get announced as something. What? I don't know. Very well could be OC. And I also said this. And this makes me think maybe he's being sort of pushed on Dennis Allen. And I understand there's a relationship there between Gruden and Allen. But obviously, if something happens and the Saints are 2-5, well, Dennis Allen's going to mess around and get fired. And Jon Gruden's going to be the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. And then I'm probably going to order a Saints cap. Wow. So we got a lot of Raiders and Saints fans that watch this channel. So this is wild news. It is. I put my thumbnail the other day, Chucky is back. Well, Chucky is very, very close to being back now. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.